The episode starts with Kartik hugging Naira. She cries and asks, "Do you trust me?" Liza is right. She isn't lying. "I know you don't trust me." He stops her and says, "It was not my mistake. But yours also. I did mistake to ask you. You did mistake of not answering it. I didn't trust you and you didn't trust me. Why didn't you wait for few days? My anger would have calmed down. Why didn't you trust our relation and bond?" Naira says, "Your trust broke, so you raised the question." He says, "I'm sure Liza isn't lying. Akhilesh made a mistake and he is lying." She says, "Yes. Liza will never let us get harmed." He says, "I don't know the solution for this. But we have to do something right." She sits in the car. He goes and makes her stuck dress out of the door. Aahatein plays. Akhilesh comes home. Dottie says, "I need to talk to you." He says, "I feel unwell. Not today. Don't get adamant." He goes. Shurika looks on. Kartik stops Naira. He says, "Don't think you are alone. I'm with you and Liza." She says, "Thanks. Call me if you need help." Kartik, "I think you should tell Vedika." He looks at her. She says, "We went out this way. Maybe we have to go again to discuss this matter. Vedika shouldn't feel bad. She should know. She has a right to know all this." Naira goes. He gets some funds file there. He sees Vedika and says, "You scared me." Vedika says, "Sorry. I went to Dad's house." He says, "Sorry. I had some work and couldn't come." She asks, "Did your factory problem get solved?" He says, "Actually, I had work in the factory but..." She says, "Don't misunderstand me. I wasn't following me. What was the need to go to cafe? Does anyone stop you from talking at home? Remember always. I have no problem with your talking." He says, "No. We met there and spoke. But I can't say the matter. It's complicated." She says, "Then keep it simple. I'm your life partner. I have this right." She goes. It's morning. Kartik says, "Naira went to meet Liza. I will meet her." Driver says, "Sir, the car has less petrol." Kartik asks, "Can it go till Singhania house?" Driver says, "Yes." Kartik says, "Then get the petrol refilled later." Vedika sees the car leaving and asks who took the white car. Driver says, "Naira." Dottie says, "I will get Ganpati home for care of. I'm feeling scared since night. Ganpati will take all our problems." Suwarna says, "Surely." Naira asks, "Where are you going?" Liza says, "Everything got over. What shall I do now?" Naira says, "We will do something for sure. We will give this a closure." Liza says, "Yes. He didn't identify me. What shall I expect?" Naira says, "You have to talk to him once. Akhilesh has to accept that he did wrong with you." She hugs Liza. Liza says, "Why did this happen with me? I loved him and he cheated me." Naira consoles her. Kartik's car breaks down. Kartik says, "This car has no petrol. I would have reached Singhania Sadan in some time." He gets walking. Naira comes there and stops the car, seeing him. She says, "You here?" He says, "Yes. I thought to meet Liza and you. The car petrol got over. Why didn't you wake me up?" She says, "You didn't need to come. Liza was going back to Goa. I stopped her for a talk." He says, "You would be going home. I will come along. Driver will get the car." Vedika comes there and sees Kartik's car parked. She drives ahead. Kartik asks, "How will we sort this?" Naira says, "Don't know." He says, "Shurika will be hurt knowing this. Don't know how love, Kush and Mansi react to this. Suwarna will break down." He holds her hand and cries. He says, "Shurika has raised me when my mum left me. She supported me. I'm not able to do anything for her. I feel bad. Vedika comes there and sees them holding hands. Kartik sees her in the mirror and says Vedika. Naira leaves Kartik's hands. Kartik lowers the glass. Naira and Kartik ask you here. Kartik says Naira came here so I. Naira says I came to meet Liza. She is upset. He says my car petrol got over. It's good Naira met me here. Vedika asks can I come along with you? He asks what happened to your car. Vedika says it's not starting. Naira says yes. Come. Vedika comes to Naira. Naira gets down the car. She says you manage from here. Vedika says if anyone gives a chance, I will manage well. She gets in driver's seat. Naira sits in back seat. Vedika drives rashly. Naira and Kartik get jerks. Kartik asks Vedika to drive carefully. They are in no rush. Vedika says trust me. I will make you reach home safely. They reach home. He asks her to take Kartik along. Else she may get hurt. She says I'm hurt but you didn't notice. She thinks to do something. Akhilesh kicks the punching bag. He thinks of Liza. He falls down and says I'm a cheap man. I had an affair with Liza by my wish. I refuse to identify her today. Such a bad thing. What's the use of all this? I have no courage to accept the truth. Kartik comes there and says you have done too wrong. He goes. Shurika scolds the servant and goes. Naira looks on. Vedika comes to the kitchen and keeps the tea pan in anger. She makes tea. Naira says don't put that ginger. Vedika asks will you tell me how to make tea for Kartik? Naira sees servants around. She says no. I was saying as the ginger was kept with cut lemons. Your hard work can go waste. Sometimes what you see or think is true. Vedika looks at her.